Welcome back to Starting Point on TVRI World. Still with me, Siska Becker, my partner, Uli Herdi, who's very excited to bring us to our next conversation.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about diving, and diving is becoming a trendy activity. It can help us to be closer with the nature, especially to explore the underwater beauty. To talk more about diving, joining us now live from Labuan Bajo is Marcia Stephanie, a scuba diver and the founder of iDIVE Komodo. Hello, Marcia. It's so good to have you. Thank you for joining us. How are you today?
Morning, Marcia.
Very good. Thank you, Uli and Siska. Nice to meet you.
So, Marcia, we heard you've been staying in Labuan Bajo for maybe about 7 years, and you were born and raised in Jakarta. How exciting. So tell us more about the journey that you had, so you decided to move from Jakarta to Labuan Bajo.
Yes. Firstly, I love the ocean. Whenever I go near the ocean, I feel like I live. And whenever I get the chance to travel, when there's an option, either ocean or mountain or city, I would actually prefer go near the ocean. And then I figure out I would love to explore the underwater world. In the beginning, I learned snorkeling. I do snorkeling, island hopping. And then there's a time when I went to North Sulawesi, to Gorontalo. I met a friend who met another diver friend who showed me a picture of a whale shark and a diver. And it gives just a perspective how big the whale shark is and how small we are as a human. And that really brings me curiosity in learning how to dive. And then after that, I went to Bunaken. At that time, it was very popular destination for scuba diving. And at that time, I was only snorkeling. I didn't see much. And the guide was telling me that I should actually learn scuba diving to be able to discover more. So from there, back from the holiday, I decided, okay, I'm going to learn scuba diving. And that's no regret until now.
Wow.
Well, you must be feeling very lucky, you know, to love scuba diving and live in Indonesia.
Yeah.
Where there's an abundance of beautiful locations to do scuba diving. Okay, now let's go further in the future where you tell us more about iDIVE Komodo. What is it all about? What's the vision, Marcia?
Yes, the vision is that we want to be known as a local professional dive center that you can trust and be your dive partner. We bring opportunities for people to learn scuba diving comfortably. As scuba diving, we believe should be an enjoyable experience. Yeah, like people who come here nervous or skeptical if they can do it or not, they can go home happily and feel successful that they can actually do scuba diving.
So, Marcia, tell us more. How does it feel like to run a dive center? Maybe you can share a story about the business climate of a dive center in Labuan Bajo and the story behind it, so you could be quite successful as a female owner of a dive center in Labuan Bajo.
Yes, thank you. And first of all, I cannot say that I'm successful yet. We are still thankful that we can survive passing the COVID time. Yeah, iDIVE Komodo itself, we just opened in 2018. So 2 years after we opened, we faced COVID. Yeah, but first time I came to Labuan Bajo, diving is already a thing in Labuan Bajo. Yeah. But then back then there's not many local players, meaning there's a lot of foreigners who run diving business. So I was triggered. I feel challenged. Like, what if we open a dive center and run it, and if we become successful, if we can run it, manage it well, I think we can prove also that we can compete with them. Yeah, there's a lot of visitors that come all the way from Europe or from the States or from Australia, come to Indonesia. And you're right, Siska, that I feel lucky to be in Indonesia and be able to dive because everyone else needs to travel all the way to come here to dive and explore the beauty of the park. Yeah. As you can see in the video in the background, those things that we can see here. So yeah, we hope to be able to cater to more and more divers from local and also abroad, from foreigners, yeah.
Okay. Now, Marcia, you mentioned earlier that one of the moments that prompted you to dive deeper into scuba diving was seeing a picture of a colleague of yours with a whale shark. Now, just out of curiosity, are you also into underwater photography and videography? How is that like? And what was the experience capturing these beautiful images underwater?
Yes, I myself, unfortunately, not a photographer or videographer. I can only take videos or capturing by simple action cam. Yes, but we do have friends who are professional underwater photographer and videographer. And that's how we collaborate with each other. And some of the footage that you see actually is from a professional underwater videographer. Yeah, like that one just behind you is the one with the whale shark. That's at Sumbawa Besar, actually. So iDIVE Komodo is not only doing trips in Komodo, but we try to go beyond as well. We also want to promote other parts in Indonesia, like West Nusa Tenggara, which is Sumbawa, Ternate, we just did recently, and then Banda Sea as well. We want to also go to other spots in Indonesia.
Wow, it looks beautiful. Amazing pictures, amazing videos. So probably you can tell us more about the areas where you guys do scuba diving around Labuan Bajo. Is it just around Labuan Bajo area? And how far out that you can go to with your roster of clients in doing this diving in the area?
Yes. For daily, we do around Komodo National Park only, mostly Central Komodo and North Komodo. Depending on the season, yeah. So we choose the spot where it's good depending on the season, yeah. For example, now it's a good season for manta rays, so and they're mostly will be in the Central Komodo area. So if people want to see manta ray, we can bring them here. And occasionally we would do beyond Komodo trip, like as I mentioned before, like Sumbawa Besar, that's to dive, to be able to dive with the whale shark. And then we go to Ternate to see the schooling fishes and take photos with them. And then to Banda Sea to dive with the hammerhead sharks. So depending on the season really, but daily we do around Komodo National Park.
Okay, so quite extensive area actually that we can explore with iDIVE Komodo.
How many days it takes for us to go? Is it a day trip or 2 days, 3 days? How does it go?
What would you recommend, Marcia?
Yes. So in Komodo itself, we can do daily. Normally we leave 7:15, and we will be back around 4:30 p.m. But we can. There's another option also if others want to do live aboard or staying on the boat for a couple days. Yeah,
that sounds fun.
Depending on what you want, basically, because it's a floating hotel. So if you only have 2 nights or 3 nights, 4 nights, then we can arrange the itinerary based on your the time that you have.
That sounds
in
really
1 day
exciting.
maximum we do 4 dives, including night dive.
4 days?
Oh, okay.
Oh, including night dive.
Yes.
Do you need to be certified to be able to do all the diving, or you can do like a try dive and
It sounds more complex, right, in terms of equipment and skill to do a night dive.
Yes. For the equipment for night dive, the difference is only the torch, really, like just the light. Yeah.
Okay.
But the other dive, you can do try scuba if you have not done the scuba diving before. For try scuba, you can either do it in the pool trial, or you can do directly at the ocean. We choose the dive site based on the diver's experience, really. If the person doesn't have experience, we will take to a very safe, calm place, part of the park as well, and be able to have bonus to see the fish directly. Yeah, but otherwise, if people are really afraid, we can always take them to the pool first and then get comfortable before we take them to the ocean.
Okay.
Yes.
What do you think?
Other than that,
I'm very
after
tempted.
scuba, if you think you like it, we can do the course and get certified.
Okay.
This guy is very tempted. She's thinking of flying out to Labuan Bajo
as
today.
soon as I can. Now, Marcia, before I proceed on asking about tips and tricks on how to scuba dive, on how to start the similar path that you're right now enjoying. Maybe I can just quickly ask you about, we hear that you also do free diving.
Ooh.
This is like a new thing you're pursuing. Is that true?
Interesting.
Please tell us more about this.
Yes. I also learned free diving. So diving without all
Years.
the equipment like the tanks. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
What we need for free diving is the mask and the fins and the weights. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But it's much more simple in terms of equipment compared to scuba diving.
Okay.
So yeah, actually for me it is more difficult for free diving in compared to scuba diving because you actually need to take hold your breath. I think you need more concentration to it, but once you able to do it, you feel satisfied because you challenge yourself. I can actually hold my breath going underwater, like the Avatar movie.
Yeah, yeah. Although I've heard some people actually likes also free diving because visually it's quite attractive because you don't have so many gears on you when you go diving. So and then the fins are long and you know beautiful and colorful, so it's quite exciting as well.
Better documentation.
Yeah, better documentation. But I'm curious about the certification to do free diving. Do you need to have a certification as well, or you can do just a try free dive because it kind of sounds dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah. What if like a scuba diver wants to try out free diving as well? Is he certified already, or is there like another certification that he or she needs to go through?
So that will be a different certification, but it's also possible doing like a try free dive first before you do the course for free dive. And for example, in Jakarta, there's a pool that is deep enough to try to do deep dive at the pool before you go to the ocean. So yeah, that's but it's a completely different way to do it, free dive and scuba diving.
How about the gear? I mean, free diving or scuba diving obviously needs to, use a lot of gears. Which gears that you suppose people better own them, like buy them out, or what are the gears that probably could be rented out at the dive facilities?
So mask is normally quite personal because people have different shape of face. That can be crucial. Also the fins, actually everything that you can have your own, actually that's the best. But if I have the chance to get my things first, I would take the mask. And then secondly will be like dive computer. So it's quite personal,
Excuse
your
me,
record
Marcia, can you
your
repeat
depth.
that, the last one? Sorry.
The dive computer.
Dive computer.
It's like running, that you have your record or other activities like cycling, but we use it for diving. So you actually know the depth from this dive computer and how long you can stay there without no decompression limit and so on.
All right. Okay.
So yeah.
All sounds very fascinating. Now let's go back to scuba diving.
Of course, will help you to dive in the ocean.
Okay. Now I know you are located and based in Komodo, iDIVE Komodo. But if you could share with us your top 3 favorite dive destinations
in the world or Indonesia?
Let's say Indonesia.
Right.
Let's promote Indonesian scuba diving, right? What do you think, Marcia? Top 3 destination to scuba dive in Indonesia.
Yes, it's probably one is Komodo, of course, and then secondly will be Raja Ampat.
Raja Ampat, Papua.
Raja Ampat is further east in Indonesia, and then another one will be Bandasi. I just recently be able to go on the liveaboard exploring Bandasi, so I think it's quite fascinating as well because it's a deeper sea there.
Okay. Now, which one would you recommend for newbies, for people who are just still starting out?
Beginners. It's like Kepulauan Seribu enough for learning for Jakartans. Or like.
Yes, actually that's where I learned. In Pulau Seribu, that's where I learned. So a lot of places actually do have spots for beginner. For example, Komodo is famous for the current. And people are afraid. They thought, it's an advanced diver sites only. But actually, Komodo also have the bay and sites that are beginner friendly. Yeah,
Oh,
that have
Okay.
calm water and also sandy bottom area that allows us to do some skill practicing. Yeah, also Bali, there are spots as well, and Gili Island. There are spots also that are friendly for beginners.
Okay. In Bali.
the Gilies.
The Gilis. Oh, okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
in Lombok,
In
right?
Lombok. So
Gili
tell
Island.
us more about the
Oh,
certification, say for beginners who wants to learn to do scuba diving. Do we have, different choices of the kind of certification that we need? And
mhm.
what are the steps that we have to go through to get the certifications so that we're able to enjoy scuba diving safely?
So the very basic certification called open water diver certification. Yeah, there normally consists of doing confined water session or pool session that we do certain set of skills. Yeah, including the mass, the regulator, and the buoyancy skills, and then need to do 4 open water dives. So normally still we need to go to the open water area. Yeah, that's the basic skill to start with, and that takes maybe 3 days
3
already,
days.
Okay.
including
It's
the
not too
theory
bad.
part.
Yeah. So,
Normally, theory part you can already learn it before you go to the destination, because these days it's possible to learn from the digital material
oh, okay, that's
for the
interesting.
theory. Yeah.
So this is a question that maybe some people have been asking themselves. Do we need to be able to swim in order to be able to scuba dive, or it's a different thing between, swimming laps on the pool
Yeah.
and scuba diving?
Do you have to be a good
Yes.
swimmer?
Yeah.
Yes, that's a very good question.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a very, very common question. Yes, and very important. Yes. Actually, you don't have to be a very good swimmer or professional swimmer to be able to dive, but I would suggest to be able to dive. Yeah, because it makes you less panic when you're in the ocean. Because can you imagine if you cannot swim, you will feel panic. Of not
Okay.
being able to swim, but actually it's okay if you're not able to swim because you have all the equipments. Yeah, but you will not actually sink. But psychologically it's actually better if you are able to swim, even just
Okay.
basic. It's important.
Okay. So you'll feel calmer, and because you have that life skill that you
Yeah.
can count on
Yeah.
if, God forbids, anything happens
Right.
when you're under there, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
All right, Marcia, I want to also talk to you about nature preservation. Maybe from your experience as a scuba diver, have you seen anything that is a matter of concern for you as a scuba diver when you explore these beautiful underwater worlds in Indonesia in terms of the nature preservation? Are there any issues that maybe you can talk to us right now as your concern?
Yes. One of the concern, of course, is trash. Yeah, it's a big issue for everywhere, I think, around the world. Um, Also, global warming. Yeah, because we do see that the coral gets bleached. Yeah, but what we can do as a diver or non-diver who wants to contribute, to be aware of our surroundings. Um, First, with that we use less plastic, like if possible diet on plastic. Yeah, we start to see them, which is very good. Yeah, people
Okay.
start to bring their own shopping bag, use less plastic material, less plastic bottles, and I see more and more people actually bring tumbler and they're proud about it. And yeah, that's a one very basic thing that we can start to preserve, because those plastics cannot be dissolved quickly. It takes ages to be able to dissolve, and then it's actually possible to end up at the sea. And this marine life, they cannot differentiate if it's a straw or their food. So we have seen a turtle actually open their mouth and then thought it's a food, and that actually it's a straw, and they cannot actually get rid of it. So yeah, it could be bad for them. So if we can use less plastics, that will be good. And then also using reef friendly sunscreen, that actually
Oh,
can help as
Oh,
well
that's
to
right.
avoid coral bleaching.
that is very interesting. Let's talk more about the coral and reef friendly sunscreen. This is the
Yes.
first time I heard about it.
I
Can you
know.
elaborate probably a bit more?
Where can we get them?
Yeah.
Are they like easily available in the market?
Yes, nowadays there are several brands that are promoting. There are a certain chemical that is contained in the normal sunscreen.
Uh-huh.
Actually, I cannot remember the exact name,
Yeah.
Okay.
but there is. This reef safe sunscreen actually don't contain this material, so it is more reef friendly.
Mm.
Yes, and if we use sunscreen, actually we use it not just before we jump to the water. We need to use it at least like 1 hour before,
Uh-huh.
so then it doesn't mix directly to the water.
Okay. So still on the topic of nature's preservation and also from the point of view of a diving industry, have you seen any changes, say, from the last 7 to 10 years, the practices of the industry that are related to nature's preservation? Have there been any changes in how people run the industry for the last 10 years?
Yes. Well, I have started diving only in 2014, so
Okay.
it's not even 10 years yet.
Uh-huh.
But what I can see in Komodo, which I'm quite proud of, the dive professionals here actually do a very thorough dive briefing, and then really remind the divers to keep the corals safe and not kicking them or destroying the corals and not disturbing the marine life. And they're pretty strict about that. If you try to kick or do something bad, the dive professionals can actually ban you for diving and not take you for the next dive, or even ban to on that dive itself.
Okay.
So back then, maybe in Indonesian culture, maybe we are afraid to tell our guests like not to do this, not to do that. But in the diving industry, that's something that we are willing
Okay.
to say and be very strict about that, because that's for to have a sustainability of this underwater life. We need to do that. Yeah, we have a very big job here to preserve these corals and marine life here.
That's good to know.
That's good to know, Marcia.
We haven't talked about the cost. I'm sure that lots of our viewers are wondering about, the cost of,
Yes, of starting this as a hobby or even pursuing it, more seriously, like you have. Like for a beginner, someone who's just starting out, how much fund should we prepare to make sure everything goes well and smoothly to go scuba diving? That is, Marcia.
With scuba diving, yeah. So first, try to learn the basics and the scuba diving principles. Yeah, when you take the course, those principles will be taught. Yeah, and then not try to skip the steps. Yeah, I have students who ask me like, "Can I be a dive master directly?" I said like, "Well, no. You need to go on to certain steps to be able to get there." Yeah. But the system has been really well prepared. So then even a tiny person like me, I'm quite tiny compared to the others. I thought that I would never be able to do a rescue course, for example, because I was thinking like I'm physically like smaller, and how can I help somebody else who is taller than me, for example. But then that my instructor at that time was telling me, Marcia, it's not about that. It's about the technique. So if you believe that you do a good technique, you can actually do it. So yeah, that gives me a confidence to grow from open water at that time, open water diver, and then becomes an advanced diver, and then becomes rescue diver, and then go to professional to be a dive master, and then pursue a dive career to be a dive instructor. So yeah, it's scuba diving basically is not a competition. It's a way to enjoy exploring the underwater world, and we do things that makes us comfortable, and those courses actually helps you to make yourself comfortable underwater and feel safe as well.
Sounds very exciting. I'm sure our viewers would like to know more about it. So for people who want to know more about iDIVE, do you have any Instagram or social media or website that you can share to us?
Yes, we do have, and thanks so much for having us here. Our Instagram is iDive Komodo. We just put together, and our website is idivekomodoindonesia.com.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Feel
Marcia,
free
for
to
sharing with
contact
us
us.
your
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah, we'll see you in Labuan Bajo soon, I hope.
Thank you, Marcia.
Yeah, see
Have
you.
a great
Yeah.
Friday and a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks so much.